Yo, I'm Mat4yo, and this is Chisel This. Today we're analyzing the third episode in the newest wave of epic rap battles of history. It's Wonder Woman versus Stevie Wonder. This battle is a far stretch of an idea that was pulled together in such a nice and concise way, demonstrating that ERB still has that magic touch to take a challenge and justify it with something amazing. And if you haven't noticed, this half of the season, they're going back to their roots and adding fancy things to it. Kinda like T-Pain's hair beads. But we'll get to that later. Lilly Singh, aka Superwoman, played Wonder Woman. And the legendary auto-tune king T-Pain, yes, you heard it here first, T-Pain played Stevie Wonder. What's amazing about this whole video is that there's so many tiers of talent and celebrity status all blending together in one video. We had ERB, which is a now internet famous group, who got a professional artist, T-Pain, to imitate another professional artist in the same field, Stevie Wonder. On the other hand, we have ERB collaborating with a similar internet famous icon, Lilly Singh, aka Superwoman, who is imitating a famous cartoon. So it's not any human particularly accomplished in real life, rather it's the animated iteration of a concept created by a guy named William Moulton Marston, who invented the comic book character. And if you want to take it further, you can look at ERB extending its hand to me to help write, me being another artist from the internet but with much less recognition. Creating this wide branch of players from all across the spectrum of worldly popularity, and kind of bringing them together to a level playing field where they all work together for the similar goal of creating content, is something that you don't see anywhere else. And that's so amazing to witness before my eyes. And to clarify my role in this battle particularly, you may have noticed that I wasn't credited in this one like I was in the last two. That's because I wasn't really involved. They were working on this battle at the same time that I was working on the Pokemon one. And by the time that they had finished writing this one, nothing that I had sent them had made too much of an impact on the final product. But just to get it out of the way, I do want to present to you what I had envisioned for this battle when I first heard of the matchup, and then we can compare that to what they wound up doing. So as you may know, I was privy to the matchup and who was going to be in it, but I had so much more of a direction to move from in the Pokemon rap battle. So just in case, I sent my first preliminary thoughts off the top of my head for all of the remaining matchups to them in an email regarding what I would like to see for each one, and here's what I sent them for this one. So I thought it would be a priority to emphasize the amounts of connections that you can make between the characters to justify the matchup. I see so many people complaining, why would they do this matchup? There's one thing in common, and that's a word in their name. ERB clearly demonstrated that there can be so much more if you just look a little bit deeper. My favorite idea for a way that they could have done this is for Wonder Woman to suggest that while she's a superhero, Stevie Wonder's only powers are superstitions, being one of his song titles. This didn't make the final cut. I thought it would be another tally to put on the amount of connections you could find between the two, but they went with something different and we'll analyze what they did. Conceptually, I thought it would be humorous to see Stevie Wonder kind of flirting with Wonder Woman while he dissed her. Plenty of Stevie songs are very romanticized, and I would have liked to seen him diss her and flirt with her at the same time. It's like, yo shawty, let me buy you a drink. Two other things, there was an opportunity to make some wordplay with Stevie Wonder's real name, which is Stevie Hardaway Junkins. You know, Stevie, you'll learn the hard way. I thought that was kind of a given. Maybe it was a little bit too obvious, so that's why I didn't get included. And then turning his stage name, Stevie Wonder, into a reflexive interrogative action. For example, Wonder Woman could say, "What's it like looking at a girl with such beauty as mine? It must really make Stevie wonder." You use his last name as a verb and relate that to how he can't see things, and anything that he does visualize is all just wondering. It's not like I'm disappointed with what they came out with. In fact, they actually surprised me. So let's dive into this new epic rap battle of history.
Wonder Woman, Stevie Wonder.
Wonder Woman fly, I'm about to tell you why. Princess Diana, but this lady don't die. My rhymes are signed, sealed, and delivered on time. You a bald has-been, I'm in my Amazon Prime.
A recurring theme in this battle is taking third-party references and tying them closely with one or both of the characters. The first way they do this is by using Wonder Woman's name and origin. I think it's a little bit funny how both of these characters have real names that don't involve Wonder, and their stage name involves the word Wonder. Because Wonder Woman's real name is Princess Diana of Themyscira, of the Amazonian people. and they connect most of the parts of that name with some braggadocio. She compares herself to the real Princess Diana, but makes the point that she won't be killed by any opponent, specifically not you, Stevie Wonder. Then, in parallel to the Amazon online fulfillment service, she links the two worlds together for the first of many times that we see in this battle. What she actually does is create a third playing field. So you have Wonder Woman, Stevie Wonder, and then you have Amazon, now that she's brought it up. What she's actually doing is throwing a rope, or should I say a lasso, over to Amazon, and then bring Stevie Wonder's song title to that battleground. And that's where they make the connection. Amazon delivers things, signed, sealed, delivered. You take two concepts and you bring them to a third-party battleground and you find what's in common there. And this requires next-level thought, if you ask me, and they have a lot of it on the writing staff.
I tell you what I say, you bet your start from right. The grin in the shades and the King Cobra head sway.
A big criticism of Stevie Wonder is that he was not the first to coin his style. A lot of it can be chronologically attributed to Ray Charles, who did much of the same things and also being a blind musician. Well, what Wonder Woman does is redirect that criticism, formats it into a diss, and then ships it off to Stevie Wonder. It's like, I should be battling Ray Charles instead because he's clearly the one that you were influenced by and he's clearly the one you put your style from.
Gods made me out of clay, then they broke the mold. I'm like Gina Davis in the Justice League of my own.
So first comes the criticism, and second comes the individual statement of worth. What makes Wonder Woman so great if she's saying that Stevie Wonder is so awful? Well, Wonder Woman is highly regarded as a beacon for women's empowerment in a world of dominant males. So they use a clever choice of words to suggest that she was specifically created in that mold to fit that mold. And you can use non-metaphorical molds to create something out of clay. So Wonder Woman uses her story of birth as both a literal and metaphorical mold breaker.
I just called to say that you need to ditch the hair beads, looking like the Predator after some chemotherapy.
Here's another example of using a third party in a way that brings out the bad in an opponent. The Predator. Well, I mean, this diss was brutal. Sometimes you just have to look at your opponent and say, what's the worst possible way I can describe your face? And then you get your preliminary diss, which is the Predator, and you add hyperbole fluff around it to enhance the quality of the diss.
But don't be scared, I let bats down easy, so you don't gotta worry about a thing, little Stevie.
Connecting both sides again, Wonder Woman suggests that Stevie is as blind as a bat, man. This theme is carried into Stevie Wonder's next verse for a sense of continuity.
I feel like this is the beginning, but you have sucked for a few thousand years.
So now Stevie Wonder starts rapping, and it's signature classic T-Pain. You got the auto-tune. It's awesome. It kind of sounds like both of them, so you get the best of both worlds. And I love how they incorporate musical elements of the original character, Stevie Wonder, into the rapper's persona. When they use musicians, it's imperative for them to create a cozy home within the instrumental where the musicians can be themselves. They do this with the funky breakdown. And then you can have Stevie Wonder break off into the rap character.
I'm a man who comes from a higher ground, and I say DC is a whole step down.
If you're looking for lyrical and song title references to Stevie Wonder's songs, this has enough to make you not even realize it half the time. Another brilliant piece of wordplay comes in the connection of DC and a musical scale. Not only is DC, or DC Comics, a whole step down from the higher ground that Stevie Wonder is on, but from D to C is literally a whole step down on a musical scale. This demonstrates an excellent palette of musical knowledge, as well as being another scenario where no other character could possibly say this to any other character. The uniqueness in ERB is staggering.
I'm spitting out hits in both fingertips, so use the tip of your fingers and read my lips.
ERB likes to take jokes on a walk around the corner to get next door. While that's not great in, like, trying to solve math problems, it is great in trying to skirt a predictable joke by replacing it with a roundhouse kick. They don't go for the obvious blind jokes here. Instead of coming out and just saying Braille, like you have to read Braille, what are the mechanisms involved in reading Braille? And how can we apply that to rap? As soon as you envision reading with fingers, you can see the visuals they create in reversing the blind crutch into a prop for Stevie Wonder. Stevie's not the one reading with his fingers here. It is Wonder Woman who will be forced into vulnerability by being told to read Stevie's lips. You can picture it in your head. He's so good, he's so complicated, that she can't figure him out. And if you're not up to speed with how much better I am than you, then open your eyes, read my lips, because you can clearly see, and if your eyesight isn't good enough for you, then do what I do when I need to see something, reading it in Braille, and do that to my lips so that maybe then you can read them. It's vicious, man, and I love it.
How you gonna talk about a bat being blind? You need to echo relocate to the 4th of July. Cause you're Miss Independent, or at least you try. But your first story is you running off with a guy.
Here, Stevie pokes a hole in the biggest advantage that Wonder Woman posed for herself in her first verse. Where Wonder Woman thought she was this unwavering bulwark of women's suffrage, here she is being whisked away in a romantic swoop by a dominant male. Well, Stevie basically says, honey, you think you're independent, but you can still fall to the wayside in swooning over a man. So toughen up. And he tries to be insensitive by saying that. Because even if it was just one minute detail, that picture is evidence enough for Stevie Wonder to exaggerate the claim and bolster it to a point where he can say, you're not independent, even if she is. I also love how he pretends he's not blind for a second by looking into the camera after a few seconds of bobbing his head around. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know where the camera is. I have like a sixth sense or something.
Let me tell you the truth, cause I know you got the lasso. You got that whack flow, suffering sappho. I'm the ceremony master blaster with the bars, and I got more Grammys than your panties got stars.
It's not even so much that Grammys have anything to do with Star-Spangled Panties, but the organization of the flow of the diss leads you to believe that Stevie just made some kind of earth-shattering analogy that spirals into the next verse. And again, it's not like there was something inherently similar between Grammys and panties, but the way that they bring these aspects together is so unique.
A woman who wonders what you're thinking. Some of your records make me wish you started drinking.
I like the concept being carried through these lines, but overall it doesn't resonate as much with me as the earlier lines. The Wonder Woman joke here seems so much forced compared to the ones where they were so smooth, and part of me just aches a little bit because if you even replaced the line with your only powers are superstitions, it would still rhyme. And you could even rearrange it to make that the punchline. There was a lot of malleable places in the final product where you could have snuck that extra tally in. And I think that somebody even saw it on the whiteboard in one of Lilly Singh's vlogs when she was there. Mat4yo, they probably took it out so they wouldn't have to credit you. This is water, by the way. But that verse implies that Stevie's career has not been a roller coaster of excitement. And maybe getting a little scandalous would have changed that. It almost feels like it's a substitute for someone's desire to diss Stevie about drinking, because many musicians have abuse problems. But since he doesn't drink, we can just project the possibility of it onto him, and that can be the diss. Even if somebody doesn't have something that is required out of a great diss, you can always morph it around the concept of them not having it and throw that on them instead. Even if you're writing a rap battle and you come up with such a good line, but it works for the other person instead to say to you, and you want to be the one to say it, then you can find a way to reword it to make your crutch an actual advantage.
And even if I stick to the best selections, your YouTube videos raise some vision questions.
So the vision questions line is the sort of hyper-specific reference to a YouTube video where Stevie Wonder was seen catching a mic stand that tipped over, and how would he even know that it tipped over if he was blind? It is kind of fun to suggest that he's actually not blind and has just been tricking the entire world for his whole career. And I'm happy that they include the visual gag to at least let you know that there is something deeper to the reference if you didn't know what it was while you're watching it. They do the same thing in Stevie Wonder's next 4 bars by providing the visual of Wonder Woman in her airplane. Which is important because the line kind of creates a desire to see her in her airplane.
Ignorant questions can never cause as much pain as never knowing how stupid you look in your airplane.
And it would kind of be awkward if we didn't see her in her airplane when he suggests that we're seeing her in her airplane.
You're a misguided C- on the Bechdel test joke, and my worst song is better than your best TV show.
So the Bechdel test joke line, if you don't know what it is, it's this like inherently prejudiced against women joke about the female characters only being pawns in fiction to motivate the male character. Apparently a lot of people are concerned about that, and in reaction Wonder Woman was created to be the one that breaks that mold. Stevie suggests that she doesn't score well on that test. And the funny thing about the line though is that the interpretation of whether or not she fails the test is good or bad differs. For her to fail that test would actually be a good thing from Wonder Woman's perspective, because she can say, I break the mold of the regular female character, I'm not like them, and that's how I'm unique and better. But on the other hand, others could say that it's a diss because if she fails that test, she's not serving her womanly purpose. So what do? Well, they keep the reference in there for the sake of the joke, and they make her grade in the middle to suggest neither, but keep the original intent. I see what you're doing there, very clever.
Look, I don't wanna judge a talking book by its cover. But if a vegan buffet, you're a full-time lover and a part-time father from what I've discovered. 9 different kids with 5 different mothers.
Wonder Woman gets very personal here in this epic animation to justify the lack of necessary movement. And then I'm happy we see this Brady Bunch style thing where Lily's doing her angry mom face. She looks like so ditzy when she plays some of the kids. I mean, it's really awesome faces out of here. I love the faces. And I'm happy that Stevie Wonder comes in and kind of acts all goofy as well, because up to this point we haven't seen him explore his world very much. He's kind of been confined to sitting in that chair behind the piano. It gives ERB the excuse to elaborate on an idea in post-production without wasting too much time filming. Also, the harmonica in the background is a really nice touch, and you can actually hear it too, and you can see one of the people in the corner playing it. Another awesome reference in the double entendre of the reboots dumps right into another link between worlds, one that you won't see anywhere else. It also takes the same around-the-corner approach to the blind jokes, and it's used as a sort of self-humoring diss. He's like, yeah, of course, I'm blind, duh, like what else you have to say? Puts him above a certain standard where he wouldn't be if he let it get to his head.
It's not a superstition, I believe you got this. Not even your tiara's coming back from this.
Here we have the superstition reference that did make the final cut, albeit less of a connection and more of a reference, and it ends on a rather simple note, making the gag joke about the boomerang tiara. It all comes together. The end card actually does the harmonica and the tiara toss. Well, that was a wonderful battle. In all seriousness, they made something out of nothing here. Lilly does a great job in portraying that dominant woman role, kind of like the mom that doesn't put up with your nonsense. My friend Kevin Crust also pointed out to me that they made her hair dark blue rather than black, because back in the good old days of comic books, they actually used a dark blue pigment to draw black hair. T-Pain also nails the head bobbing and the smiling. Now, I want you to put yourself in ERB's shoes at the conception of this idea. I wasn't there, but I can interpret the risk as such. We've had Key and Peele, we've had Snoop Dogg, we've had Weird Al Yankovic, all celebrity guest stars in epic rap battles of history. And they've been in rather fitting matchups with a lot to work with. But this time, we're going to get T-Pain. And you know, T-Pain is a pretty big hit. He was huge around the time of YouTube's rising. In fact, my very first channel got deleted because I received 3 copyright strikes for using T-Pain songs out of context. I was like 12 years old, like making these videos, and my whole account, all my videos got erased, wiped clean because I used T-Pain songs. I still love T-Pain as an artist. I think that his sound is really unique, and he's a pretty good singer without auto-tune as well. That led me to create the Mat4yo channel eventually. So there's a lot to look up to here. So big star, right? But this time he's not going to be a historical figure or someone who's been dead for 400 years or even a biblical character. He's going to be another celebrity from his same field who is still alive. So do you think that that would make T-Pain feel like any less of an artist? Because a parody of something basically accepts that they won't be the person that they're parodying. And of course, T-Pain could be that person. He is a super successful star. So what's the risk in asking him to play somebody like that? Not only is he going to be playing somebody in his field, but he's going to be rapping against a cartoon character, and the two characters share nothing in common except their name. Is he excited to do this, or is he on the fence? I don't know. I would assume he would be excited, but you still have to acknowledge the risk here. I've had projects where I get a little bit too ambitious or risky with the whole concept, especially those that involve somebody else. I realized that the way that you get these things to work is to attack them full force and not back down on any big ambitious idea. You have to go for it with 100% certainty and alacrity for the actual project. So they do this. They do as much work as possible before and after the time that T-Pain's going to be with them. If you notice, they don't put too much of the creative burden on T-Pain himself. This is to facilitate an easy, smooth, and successful collaboration. On filming day, they basically have T-Pain sit in a chair, pretending to play the keyboard, sway his head around, and just sing the lyrics. You know, it's really simple. You just do 2 things with your body and you just do all the lyrics. And they make him stand on the green screen, they do a handful of reaction shots to sprinkle in there, and then he's done for the day. Do some stuff with the harmonica. They minimize the stress on the special guest star and get as much out of it as possible at the same time. And to see a risk like that actually be rewarded with such an awesome product in a way that isn't perceived as lackluster goes to show just how unique and talented the crew has grown to become over the years. And you notice how they thanked T-Pain at the end for the inspiration. There's a lot of inspiration to go around. Epic rap battles inspired me to pursue rapping. And now here I am, I analyze their work, they notice me, and I've been credited in at least 2 of them. Maybe even more in the future, depending on how much I continue to influence them. Because I did send things for all except one of the remaining matchups in this wave. We all have a lot to learn from one another. And the more we demonstrate what we've learned in formats like these, the more others can learn, and the more opportunities you'll have to learn from others. I'm Mat4yo, and that's all for yo today. Real quick, for anybody who stayed around, I just want to ask you about a couple things. First of all, what do you think about changing the backgrounds? I've been looking for one that would stick. The more that this becomes about rap, the more that my channel extends out to a wider audience. So I've made the background like this. Also, what other kinds of things would you like to see me review? Because I kind of get bogged down in the sense that every time an epic rap battle comes out, everybody's only waiting for me to talk about it and not for other kinds of content. So what would you like to see, both rap-wise and review-wise? I can review other things too, you know. Let me know what kind of rap challenges you'd like to see. Maybe if you'd like to see me even talk about current events on a different channel, maybe I can branch you out to that. There's a lot of things that I want to get involved with. As school kind of winds down, I'm going to have to make a decision on which one to pursue, and I'm going to need your guys' help to kind of push me in the direction that I should be going. If you've sent me anything through email in the last couple months, please know that I'm not purposefully ignoring you. I get a lot of emails, and a lot of it is surrounded by work that has to be done on a scheduled basis. A lot of it has to do with school. So I'd love to give you all feedback individually, but just know that I make Chisel This in the format that I do so that you can come here and have my advice applied to you individually, even when I'm not specifically looking at what you created. So that when I don't have the time to be there for you personally, you can look at these videos and derive what you need from them, and then if it's something really big, you can contact me about it. I will be looking at your emails as soon as I can. I promise I'm not ignoring you. If you haven't noticed, I answer almost all the comments in the comments of all my new videos. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'm very interactive there. I like to respond to your messages. And I also have like behind the scenes information that I dump on Twitter, so please go follow me there. Otherwise, we'll keep the conversation going, and I'll keep making content for yo because it's in the name. I'm Mat4yo, and that's all for yo today.
Victim of vitrification, stuck in a cyclical symptom of what was looking like a crystallization. I finger painting an illustration on condensation with the condensing nature, using my entrainment as its entertainment. Out of control, right on programmed well to never thaw out of this frozen